Hello, my name is Terri Craft. I am the coordinator of academic support and retention here at Andrew College. I also serve as the Upswing administrator. Andrew College is a small residential college in southwest Georgia. It was founded in 1854, originally as a women's college. Then it served as a hospital during the Civil War, still holding classes at the same time, and has been an ongoing institution ever since. Well, to start with, we started looking for online tutoring because we normally do not present online classes to our students. However, 2 years ago in the summer, we decided to pilot only online classes because typically our students don't come back in the summer for classes, and it wasn't cost effective to have the dormitories open, the dining hall open, since we are primarily a residential college. So we piloted the online classes, and then the question was, because we normally cater to students who are below the 50 percentile on the SATs and ACTs, so we knew academic support would be an issue. And at the time, it was going to be me, and that was it. And I couldn't handle all of those students on my own, so we looked at the online possibility. That summer, I did do online tutoring, and it became so oppressive and the workload was so great that we realized this was not going to work. So we started looking for online tutoring, and we looked at several different corporations that offered the service, and we had specific criteria that we wanted to be met. Upswing rose to the top as one of our top three. We met with all three of the candidates for this contract, and basically when it came down to it, Upswing came to the top, not just for the services they offered, but for the people that we were going to be working with, and the fact that they really wanted to work with us and help cater their design to fit our needs. We had used, plagiarism services, things of that nature, turn it in.
Yeah.
Some of the English professors would get their students to use the free tutoring services that were available for their students. But we found those really weren't as effective because the tutors that they would go to weren't ones that the students could develop a relationship with. And that's the one thing that we have found has been very important for our students, is that they do develop a relationship with their tutors. Now, we do have face-to-face tutoring on campus as well. We have 2 separate tutoring services actually on campus. So because of that, we were looking for a similar experience for our students to be able to have. And Upswing offered that with their interactive video tutoring sessions, whereas some of the free tutoring services did not offer that at all. In fact, it was more of a proofreading service, and the papers were corrected, sent back to the students, and the students really didn't learn anything from it. And we wanted it to be a learning experience, like I said, that mirrored what we offer here on campus, where the tutors don't correct, they actually teach. Well, the thing is, Andrew College, as I had said before, is a small residential college. And when I say small, I mean we're talking 300 to 350 students. So yes, we know all of our students. They're not numbers. We know their names. We know sometimes things about them we don't really want to know, but we do know our students. They have close relationships with the faculty, with the staff, and with their tutors. We believe very strongly in the need for engagement on the campus, and part of that starts in the classroom and carries all the way through to the tutoring services, to the activities on campus, everything of that nature, which anyone who's ever worked in retention knows that if the students are not engaged, they're not going to stay. And I have noticed as administrator that oftentimes the tutor, out of their own time, will get back in touch with the student to follow up. How'd that paper go, or how'd you do on that test, those type of things. And it's very meaningful to the student because they feel like, hey, somebody's thinking about me. And that's important. When parents say, how's school going? Well, kids usually just say, fine. And that's as far as the answer goes. With Upswing, there's a certain anonymous quality to that. Even though there's the video exchange and things of that nature, the students are speaking and working with someone who mom and dad don't know, classmates don't know, so they're more open and more free about the issues and challenges that they have than they normally might be, even sometimes with the face-to-face tutors. Because being a small campus, those face-to-face tutors are sitting in their class with them, they're working with them, and sometimes they're on their team. Over 50% of our population are student athletes, which was another thing where Upswing is very, very helpful. Our students are nocturnal students. We have specific hours for our tutoring services. Well, that doesn't always fit in their schedule, especially if they're a student athlete and they're traveling. And luckily, the transportation that we use does have Wi-Fi on the bus, and so students have been known to do their tutoring and get help on their papers and things of that nature while they're traveling from one game to another. And you may be thinking, oh no, those buses are crazy, they can't do that. You would be surprised. They stick their little earbuds in and they'll have a session on their phone. Account management has been so much better than I anticipated. You know, when you're shopping around for something like this, you always get promises. And the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. When I have a question or a concern, I immediately email my hero, and in less than 24 hours, I have a response, and it's usually a response with a resolution. It's not just I'm working on it, or a form email saying that we've got your response request and we'll get back to you within so many hours. It is a direct contact. If it's not an email, it's a phone call. So I feel that my hero has been a hero for us here. She's really been on top of everything that we've needed. Any questions I've had, if I need something from her, she's right there and she gives it to me. And I just can't say enough about having that connection. Whereas with a lot of the other companies, particularly the ones that are much larger, there's not an engagement. And engagement's not just important for the students, it's important for the administrator of the program with the company as well. And I find that this has been a very rewarding relationship in that I feel very comfortable with my Upswing hero. I can talk to her about any issues that I have and just be very frank with her, and she does everything she can to get them resolved. In addition to that, if there are any changes or anything of that nature that I would like to see, very open to it. In fact, already in just the year that we've been with Upswing, they've done 3 very significant changes that have been very helpful to us. And then there were some we never even considered that we're benefiting from those as well. So as far as account representative, it's been fantastic. I have no complaints. Basically, students who have used Upswing have shown an improved grade for their assignments of between 15% to 25%. And if you put that in grade form, we're looking at almost 2 letter grades. And that is huge for these students. As anyone who works in academia knows, that even your best students in high school find that they're not the best students in college, and they have to really, really work to get back into what they're used to get the grades they're used to seeing. And those that have used Upswing, the professors are reporting back to me the improvement in their grades and how beneficial it's been to the students. We've even had students using Upswing with learning disabilities, and it's made a big difference with them. Sometimes there's something, I'm not an expert on learning disabilities, but we have a couple of students on campus with Asperger's. And those students who have used Upswing have come to me and said that it's something about the video and the connection and disconnect that's there that helps them concentrate more on what they're doing than sitting next to a tutor. And again, I don't know a lot about disabilities, but we've seen some improvements there as well. And that's good. It's also very convenient for the students. As I said before, our students are nocturnal students, and because of the convenience of it, the way they can access it, we have multiple access points for them across campus, And we have a college app that they can even access from the college app from their phones. And a lot of students go to tutoring on their phones. Who would have thought of that? And since students nowadays, that's what they use. They are glued to those phones. We're finding they're more likely to get some tutoring assistance than they are if they have to go to a scheduled place that has set hours. So that makes a difference as well, because if they're seeking the help because of the convenience of it and because it feeds into their technological likes, then they're going to use it more, they're going to improve their grades more. And that's what we've seen with the use of Upswing. Now granted, that you could be saying, well, that would be with any place. The Upswing tutors are very involved with the students. They get back in touch with them to see how their grades are going, how they did on a test, how they did on a paper. They've even had students said to students, bring me back your graded paper and let's look at it again and see so that the next time it's even better. And the students have a tendency to go back to the same tutor again and again. I see the same tutoring names appearing over and over, and then they tell other students about it. You know, hey, you got a really good grade on that assignment, and go, well, I went to so-and-so on Upswing, and it was really helpful. Just a side note about how much our students are using Upswing. We actually contracted for 2 years of tutoring hours, and the students were so engaged with Upswing that we used all of our 2 years of tutoring hours in the first year. And I think that says a lot about the program and the students' use of it. And this was not an abused use either. This is students actually using it, actually getting tutoring, actually spending time with the tutors. Well, it's real simple. It's cheaper than paying face-to-face tutors. It's as simple as that. It comes down to the bottom line. Before Upswing, we spent approximately $41,000 on our tutors. Upswing isn't nearly that much, and we have been able to cut that budget. We haven't actually let go any tutors, but they have cut their time, and we have been able to still offer the same services on campus, but now we're being able to offer them at the times that the students need it. For example, we used to have our Student Success Center open from 8 in the morning till 9 at night. Well, we found students weren't using it from 8 to 1, so now we don't even have to open it then. Because if they do need tutoring before then, they've got Upswing. They've got it 24/7. So it's actually been a help to the budget overall. As I said before, all our students live on their phones. They live on their technology, and it feeds to what they're accustomed to now. This generation of students are very digital, and they operate very digitally. Your old-fashioned standard way of teaching and tutoring is just that. It's old-fashioned. And even though it has its place, Upswing fills that gap, and it's definitely filled it for our students. As far as promoting it on campus, we have flyers on our advertisement monitors. We have an Upswing that comes up. But in addition to that, and I can do this because it's a small campus, but I go into classrooms at the beginning of the semester, and I take about 15 minutes and talk to them about Upswing, give them a quick demo on how to use it so that they know, and tell them to give it a try, and then give me their feedback. And they're always up for new things. That's what the cool thing about this generation of students is. It's like, yeah, it's something new. Let's try it. Let's see what it's like. And then the program itself is what has them coming back. I get them to do it initially, but it's Upswing itself and the tutors and the way it works and all of the benefits of it and the interactive whiteboard and the video, all of that type of stuff that is part of the program package. That's what has them coming back. When I do a demo with them, we go in, and tutors probably hate me for this, but I actually schedule sessions. I immediately cancel them, but I do actually schedule some sessions so that they can see how to do it. And I really need to email those tutors and apologize. But the only thing I don't do is a Get Tutoring Now session. But,
there you go. Right?
But I do show them exactly how to do it, how to schedule, how to cancel if they need to cancel, all of those things, so that it's not some big scary thing. I demo them in 15 minutes in a classroom, and the only reason it's 15 minutes is because students have questions.
Yep, exactly.
It's that simple.
That's what I usually
That's simple.
Like,
and as far as the dashboard, I mean, it's all right there for you. It's easy to read. You can find the information you need. And we've used the dashboard numerous times for example, and I don't know if this should be in here or not, we had a student who protested a grade. And they did not pass a paper. And they said, well, I went to Upswing and got tutoring, and I should have made an A on this paper. Well, because of the dashboard, because of the feedback feature, I was able to go look at that student's session, and I found exactly what the tutor had to say, which was the student was not attentive to the session, and exactly everything that the tutor said that the student needed to work on and that they covered is exactly why the student failed the paper. And I was also able to look at the paper that the student had uploaded to Upswing, and it was an exact duplicate of the one that was turned in. So the student didn't even make any editing. And so this is also a good tool for these type of things. Needless to say, the grade appeal was denied. Upswing is multi-layered for the uses. It's not just, okay, students can tutor and you can get feedback and all that's great. But you can take that feedback and you can look at what areas, if you're teaching a class, that you want to concentrate on, because overall, this is an area that students are struggling with. You can also look at it and say, okay, I covered this last week, but I see these students going on Upswing and they're still struggling with it. I need to readdress it. So for the faculty, it serves as a great tool for them for their reflection on their lesson plans, on their teaching, on what they've done in the classroom. So it's just multi-layered, the uses. You can pretty much take it and use it and the information that you generate from it in any way you want. Every year we have to do annual assessments, and Upswing is great for that because they send you a great report that has all the data you need for your assessment, so you're not having to manually put it together like I have to do for the face-to-face centers. And so when I got that report, I was like, whoopee, because I got it just in time to turn in my assessment report. So it was great. So that made my job so much easier. I can't tell you how many hours of labor that saved me. They did the work.
I was going to say, those hours of labor went to me, but that's fine.
Yes, the hours of labor went to Upswing, which to me is great. I would rather they do it than me. And so, like I said, multi-layered. It's not just a tutoring service, because we all have accreditation. We all have to report to our accrediting boards, and this form of assessment, the report you get back, is a great tool to use for those reports to your accrediting boards, especially, when you come up for reaccreditation, which we just did. And we're fully affirmed, yay. But again, that Upswing report was great to turn in to the SACS board. And so this, as far as, yes, this tutoring service that we have is what we said it would be. In addition to that, we had a Title III grant. That is what we used to start our tutoring services here on campus. And our initial purchase of Upswing came through the Title III grant. So naturally, we had to do a lot of reporting to them about Upswing. And it was just a great tool to show that the federal funds that we were getting were used in a very productive way for the students when they ask for them.
Okay. So probably like once or twice a semester or something like that?
No, it depends on the faculty member.
Oh, okay.
For example, the English teachers, right after a paper's due.
Every single, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right after a paper's due. Because the English faculty, the English composition faculty requires that their students have their papers, their final draft of their papers, proofread. And then they do another revision based on that. They have to turn in the one that's all marked up for revision, and then the final. But they need a report on that. It's real simple to download from Upswing and sort so that only the information goes to a tutor, whereas For the face-to-face, it's a little bit more tedious to create that spreadsheet to send to them. And in addition to that, with the face-to-face tutors, they don't get the in-depth feedback, which they have come back and said, boy, this is great information.
I mean, that's something that a couple of our schools have started doing is using the feedback form that we have in their face-to-face centers and just putting them in because it has a lot of
it's interesting you should say that because we've just started our interdisciplinary reading and writing center, and when I met with the director, she wanted to see the feedback form from Upswing.
There you go.
And she patterned her feedback form from the Upswing one because she said, man, this covers everything. So, and it makes it nice so that across the board, when I have to do the academic support assessments, I've got standardized feedback. So I'm not having to try and cull everything together and make it, have some commonality.
That's good.
Yeah, and speaking of that, one of the other things is we require our student athletes to do X number of study hall hours or tutoring hours. They can either do study hall hours where they can go into one of the learning centers and study on their own, but their tutoring time also counts towards their required study hall hours. And so one of the things that we were looking for specifically for online is where we could get the reports we needed to send to the athletic director so that the athletic director would know, are these students doing what they're supposed to do? Because if a student doesn't get their hours, student doesn't play. So it was very important. And of the ones that we looked at, Upswing's feedback report and tracking report was actually the one that had all the elements we needed. So then that went a long way into our decision as well, is because it, again, did the work for us. Maybe an hour to an hour and a half a week is all Upswing takes from my time. Because again, the tracking is so easy. You just download the information into an Excel spreadsheet and then you sort it however you need it. You can take out what you don't need very easily and keep the rest. And because it's Excel, you can sort it this way and then go back and then sort it another way. And it's just very easy. While you're doing that, I'm also a quick reader, so I can see if there are issues. It's real easy to look at the dashboard and see what students have been canceling that shouldn't. And the really cool thing that I like that's fairly new with Upswing now is it pops up the names of students who have canceled X number of sessions in a row, because we do have a rule here with our Upswing that if you cancel 3 sessions in a semester, then you're suspended from using it for the rest of the semester. And another nice feature is I can go in and suspend that student myself. I don't have to send a request to Upswing to do so. So that just makes it so much easier. It's not a matter of, okay, now I got to send an email and now I got to do this. It's click, 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 and it's done. So maybe an hour, hour and a half. Listen, if you want to know the facts, Upswing is one of the best programs out there that we found. We did an extensive amount of research. We are not at all unhappy with the program. In fact, when we used up our hours, it didn't take anything for me to convince the VP that we needed to get more hours. All I had to do was show him the usage, and he immediately said, well, the students are using it. If they're using it, we need to pay for it. So Upswing has my contact information. If you want to contact me and talk to me, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about my experience with Upswing if you don't want to take my word for it in this video. But if you're on the fence, all I can say is give it a try. Pilot it and see how it works at your school. I don't think you'll be disappointed.